All right, Bull had to use the bathroom, so we took the show off the air for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No, you know what? We got one of those technical gremlins in our system again.
Yeah.
I don't know where they are, but they live in there somewhere.
They're trolls.
And they knocked us off the air. So thanks for everybody for sticking with us throughout the little technical malfunction there.
Yeah.
I want to wrap up Deshaun quickly before we move to other items because there's a lot to talk about with the preseason game. But ultimately, we all agree no excuses. This is it.
Yeah, none.
And the one thing that you don't want to have as an excuse is, well, he didn't really play in the preseason because that's controllable.
Right, 100%.
I mean, that's something that Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson, let's face it, if Deshaun Watson went to Kevin Stefanski and said, look, I'm still not in my rhythm.
Yeah.
I need a total of 4 quarters in the preseason. Divvy them up however you want. Give me 3 in the last game, 1 in.
Right.
I think Kevin would do that. I think that
100%.
this is a collaboration between the two where they're both like, I'm good. And that scares me.
If they come back and you hear Mary Kay or some of the beat reporters in Philadelphia saying, listen, this offense was moving the ball up and down against the Philadelphia Eagles and this inter squad stuff.
I don't care.
Would that make you feel better?
It make me feel better, but I still want to see him in the game.
I don't care about that. First of all, I don't know. I mean, it's just
it'd be better than saying he threw 6 interceptions in 2 days of practice
but
against Philly.
ultimately, when a quarterback knows he's not going to get hit, that's all the pressure's off.
Yeah.
I agree. You know how it is. People have this group think. When somebody says it the first time, it's just like they just keep saying it.
Yeah.
And they're like, now it's become this thing where if inter-squad scrimmages got the best out of people, they would just do inter-squad scrimmages instead of games.
Yeah, you're right. That's very true.
Why don't you just run that and just get the season on?
Well, no, there is one very good reason.
Money.
Right, 100%.
They've got no TV product and they've got no ticket sales.
We can't sell that.
Can I ask y'all one question on Watson before we move on to DTR and the rest of the quarterbacks?
Absolutely.
He threw the ball 3 times. He also ran the ball 3 times. Only one was a designed run. It was the RPO in the red zone. The other 2 were scrambles.
Right.
In a preseason situation like that on a wet field, I understand competitors are competitors. They're not thinking like that. But, G. Bush, I'll start with you. What's kind of going through your mind as Deshaun Watson takes off in a preseason game? Are you comfortable with him running the ball like he did in that situation, considering what the stakes were?
In my mind, I'm looking at it like this. Dang, Jedrick Wills. Good gracious, sir. Welcome to Chase Young. He was back in his bag against you. Chase Young was like, y'all gonna pay me. If you didn't notice, one of the scrambles was because Jedrick Wills got hit with the backhand side of Chase Young's pass rush prowess. He split us up into 2 beings, Chase Young and his prowess. And Chase Young's prowess beat him to sleep. Jedrick Wills he's out there doing this. He's swimming. He's, which way did he go? He looked like Herman the Monster, bro. This is
Herman Munster?
Yeah.
Same guy.
We
knew who you were talking about.
For you young guys.
Herman the Monster.
Yeah. Hey, but it's on tag board, too. I can't pull it up.
Is it tag board full?
It's tag board full, and I need a graphic at the bottom and a raging bull at the top right-hand corner. That's how bad he got did. Ole, it was bad, man.
God.
And I'm sitting there thinking, somebody's like, listen, Jed Wills, man, he's gonna get somebody hurt, bro. I don't wanna seem like I'm just down on the guy, but he gets beat like this 2 to 3 times a game. And we want to get.
And it only takes 1 to lose your quarterback.
And it only takes
That's
1.
True.
And Deshaun, actually, Chase Young hit him. He hit him, and Deshaun Watson was like, I know that can't be somebody hit me in my back already. It was only 1 second. I just snapped it. He gets out, moves around, scrambles downfield. But one of them was just because of just terrible offensive line play. That's it.
Football players play football. They don't worry about injuries. You got to play.
Yeah, when you're out there, you don't.
You can't be thinking about watching. Oh, I better not run because it's a preseason game. You can't play that way.
By the way, if you Mikey, decide that I'm not going to run, you're also a target.
Right,
like
that's true.
if the pockets collapse and he decides I'm just going to take the hit, you can have a season end on that play. Look, we think about it.
Right.
As fans, and when we're watching it, we're holding our breath every single time the quarterback breaks pocket. You can bet they're doing the same thing in Cincinnati and Kansas City and everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
But you can't play the game that way. You have to go out there, play with a reckless abandon, and you have to assume that you're in good enough physical condition and that you're going to have
Yeah.
luck on your side and you're not going to get hurt.
Here you go. You're going to see this. You're going to get this work. No, we're not letting you out of this one. I just sent that to y'all. I don't know if it's possible. I just sent it to you on Twitter. This is nasty work.
Yeah, we can see it there.
And by the way, that's a big part of his game. That part of his game's got to have the rust knocked off it too.
I think that's the biggest part because without that, defenses are going to force him to sit in the pocket and beat him that way.
Right, which he can,
and
but
he can, but that's not his strength. Is having two tools, not
That's
one.
right. That's
and whenever you make a quarterback one-dimensional, you're halfway to victory.
That's right. He's
So-
got to be great at that also.
Can we tag board that he just sent you?
Yeah, we're gonna work on getting it up. The computers.
We do tag board half.
I hate technology right now.
Super
So let me while we're
pause.
waiting, let me do a fast read, and we will get that clip up at some point. But
Okay.
if you guys haven't already, please hit that like button for us. I understand we had some technical difficulties earlier. We cannot control technology as much as we would like to. Unfortunately, sometimes the internet has other thoughts, and we're trying to put on a killer show. But we had monster numbers already, and we're going to get back to those monster numbers here in a second. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and continue to support us here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show as we approach the upcoming football season. Deshaun Watson went 3 for 3, Jay, but some of the backup quarterbacks on the Browns roster, the other guys outside of Watson, looked pretty damn good too, including the rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who once again showed out in front of a packed crowd.
It doesn't take Cleveland long to get quarterback mania, and I think it's safe to say they already have quarterback mania over DTR.
Yeah.
Which happened very quickly.
Yes.
Now, if you're just judging on what he did in the game, I can understand why you'd be excited about that. But you have to temper that enthusiasm with who he was doing it against. He was 9 of 10, quarterback rating of 142. I mean, isn't that perfect? Or right next to it?
No, 158's perfect.
Okay, 158, 102 passing yards and a touchdown. I love everything I've seen about this kid, but I don't know that I'm ready to say I feel comfortable going into the season with him as number 2 over Josh Dobbs, who has experience in big games. Are you guys?
I'll preface this by saying you guys are correct, because think about it. Last year, DTR was Josh Dobbs.
Absolutely.
Josh Dobbs was the guy
Cleveland
last year.
fell in love with him. Hey, maybe we should play Josh
He
Dobbs
was
over Jacoby
scrambling,
Brissett.
jumping over the pile, doing his thing. He played so well that the Tennessee Titans picked him up, played him in a game last year.
Meaningful game.
Meaningful. They needed that game to get into the playoffs. I like what DTR is doing so far. If you're going to start, I think you should look at it this way. I'm going to give Josh Dobbs an opportunity to start the game against Philadelphia because he's not going to play, Deshaun Watson. I'm going to give each of them opportunity.
Providing some pop.
You get one of them in the first half and one of them in the second half, but I'm definitely going to have a competition for that game because to me, I think he's earned it. I think when you watch that play right there,
Downhill throw.
he's ready. He gets to his back foot, he reads the progression, and boom, ball away. Right? If he's going to run the ball, he's going to take off and do what he needs to do immediately. He's not scrambling around in the backfield. He's looked crisp every time I've seen him out there, and he deserves to be in that conversation to be like, hey, I'm the backup quarterback. Now, trust me, it's kind of scary having a backup quarterback be a rookie. That's kind of, usually that only happens when you take a rookie.
Hell, look how many times we've had our starting quarterback be a
Now,
rookie.
let me make this clear. First of all, it doesn't really matter who the backup is. Any kind of long. If Deshaun Watson has any kind of season-ending injury, the season's over.
Yeah.
So that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The Browns will not go to the playoffs with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They won't go to the playoffs with Josh Dobbs, and they won't go to the playoffs with Kellen Mond. I'll say the same thing about the Bengals. I'll say the same thing about the
49ers did it
Chiefs.
last year.
That's the exception, not the rule.
It is definitely
And the 49ers didn't. And first of all, Brock Purdy played great. So, yeah, okay, it's possible that some of these guys
he
can play
could.
great.
Look, coming out of college, Brock Purdy was not nearly
Nothing.
as accomplished as Dorian
Right.
Thomas.
But
5 years as a starter, guys. Remember that. 5 years
But
as a
in
starter.
this AFC,
No, I agree.
the
It's gonna be
Browns could
tough.
go 10-7 this year and still not make the playoffs. This
Yeah.
AFC is
I think
over.
there'll be a 10-7 miss in the
Right,
AFC.
exactly.
I hope it's
so
not us.
without Deshaun Watson, the chances of them winning 10 games are almost nothing.
You're right.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson, it's like the same thing that happened with Amani Bates here, like to some degree. What, in the little tiny bit, he's thrown 20 preseason passes, 21 preseason passes. I think he's 18 of 21 in the 2 games, okay? In those 21 passes in the 9 or 8 runs that he's had, he has looked excellent.
Yeah.
Nothing negative to say about him. But here's the thing. None of these statistics matter.
No.
Quarterback rating. what makes you a great quarterback is that you're able to sustain this type of play for a game, for a season, right? If he throws 10 passes, well, that's great, and the numbers are great, 9 for 10. But if he had to play the whole game, okay, then you got to deal with the ups and downs
Sample
of a whole
size
game.
is too small.
It's too small, and he's doing it against guys who are not NFL players.
Well, let me be devil's advocate,
Yeah.
because that is a good argument. Most of these guys, but Josh Dobbs is playing against the same Jimmies and Joes.
Agreed, and Josh Dobbs didn't play particularly well.
No.
But ultimately, what you're not going to decide your backup quarterback, in my opinion, based on their statistics in the preseason.
Yeah.
You're going to decide it based on an entire body of work, both coming into this season and what you've seen in training camp, what you see in the classroom. We only see a small tidbit of what they're analyzing as a team.
Right.
Josh Dobbs was here last year. He's been in the league, hasn't played a ton, but he's been in the league a long time.
Right.
I don't think there's any chance Dorian Thompson-Robinson is the backup this year.
I agree.
What we've seen, love it. Do I want him on the roster as the third quarterback? 100%.
Right.
Is there potential that he could be the next Brock Purdy or another guy? Of course, there's always that possibility. And he's certainly worthy of keeping around 100%.
Yeah.
But in terms of the backup, if Deshaun Watson goes down for a series, I want to go with the guy who's played in the league.
Yeah, let me remove any doubt for anybody.
Yeah.
This is what the roster looks like for the Browns at quarterback, and I'm about as sure as this as I am on any take I've given on this show. Deshaun Watson is your starter. That's clearly established. There's no question about that. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, although he's looked great, is not your number 2. That's going to be Josh Dobbs.
That's right.
He has experience in that position. The Browns obviously liked him enough that they brought him back.
That's right.
He played meaningful games last year for the Titans, and by the way, played well. It wasn't his fault they lost.
Yeah.
It was not his fault. He did enough by himself to win the game. But the team didn't step up.
It was
to
a prime
the occasion.
time. It was a prime time.
It was a prime time game. I remember watching every bit of it. I thought I was so happy for Josh Dobbs. But make no mistake about it, Kellen Mond will not be on this roster.
No.
Those are your 3 quarterbacks.
Yep.
And the only way DTR will see the field at all this year is if there is a significant injury. That's
if
it.
he plays this year, it's probably a disaster for the Browns.
It's not a good thing if he plays this year for the Browns. Now, I love what they have in this kid. They're absolutely excited about him. They're 100% keeping him. And I do think that he has a future in the NFL as a quarterback. He just looks the part. He's not intimidated by anything. He's got good leadership skills. And by the way, do we have the video? Can we tag board the video of end of game, Jacoby Brissett, and all of the Browns coming to him as if he was the Pope? Do we have that? Because this is what I wanted to use that. As I'm looking at that video, here's what instantly came to mind. Jacoby Brissett is not a big vocal guy. He's not. And we always ask this question. Can you be a leader if you're not a rah-rah Ray Lewis? Can you do it? And we've always asked that question, I think, in conjunction with the question of Myles Garrett.
Sure.
Can he be a leader? Jacoby Brissett, you want to see what a leader looks like?
Yeah.
Watch how his old teammates were breaking their backs to get to him after the game to talk to him.
Yeah.
He is beloved by his teammates. When he was with this, that's just the video, or I mean the still picture.
Yeah.
There's video of him dabbing up everybody on the team, and it was like they were seeing their old best friend from college.
Right.
That's what a leader looks like. And it doesn't he doesn't have to be vocal. Look at the guys absolutely coming to him like he's some sort of magnet. Njoku having a nice laugh with him. Everybody, even Deshaun Watson. This guy was beloved by his teammates.
That's great, and I love it at all. Why any fan or media member would be obsessed with Jacoby Brissett, I have no idea. He was here for one season.
I can tell you why the media was obsessed with him, because he's such a likable guy.
I hear you.
They deal, remember, and we don't do this. I did once upon a time.
Yeah.
It's not fun. When you go into a locker room every day, you realize that these guys are paid professionals. They're football players, first and foremost. They don't have to be kind during interactions.
No,
Nothing in their contract says
no,
they
you
have
always
to be.
love that when the players are nice.
When they're nice, it's
Yeah.
like they make your job 60% easier. Because
100%.
it's just, it's going to be a human interaction where mutual respect is involved.
Yeah.
But when you go into the locker room after a game and you have to interview a Warren Sapp who's got a spit towel down between his feet and puts a big chunk of dip in, and is spitting during the entire interview right next to your microphone.
Yeah.
And he knows what he's doing when he's doing that.
Yeah, he's just being a douche.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's you need hazard pay for that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
So the media is infatuated with Jacoby because he treated everyone with the utmost respect. He's just a good human being.
He is, no doubt.
And that's why they're obsessed
Right.
with him.
And he
I
played-
think the
he
fans
played well.
I think the fans, for the most part, we were in a really tough spot. And I think it wasn't his fault that they had a losing record when he was the quarterback. It was not his fault. I think the defense
It
had
wasn't
more to
his
do with that
fault.
than
If
anything.
you had a better
The offense
quarterback, you might-
overachieved last year.
Right, but I'm saying if you had a better quarterback, you might as well. Anyway, I just always think it's kind of a loser mentality, waxing poetic over a quarterback who was here 1 year and didn't win.
Well, I think that just goes to show you the impact that he had on people outside of the field.
Yeah,
Right.
For the players, I get it.
Yeah.
That's a different
Well,
story.
they revere him as much as the
Right,
media
yeah.
and the fans.
And that's a tough job to know you coming into a place where you weren't supposed to be the quarterback. You had a specific role in mind, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden the 11 games comes. Now you got to switch your mentality. Now you got to become a leader. He became a leader. He won games that he probably shouldn't have won.
He played well
and
last
then
year.
It was almost
did play well.
He played really well. Like he had an 88.9 QBR quarterback rating, and like Jay said, there was games where he played well enough to win games that he should have won.
Wasn't his fault they lost to the Jets.
So
No.
People look at him, and like you said, it's always something about a guy that's continued to grind and getting the opportunity. And even though he played well like that, he's in Washington now, trying to find a position, still fighting for a starting role again.
Right.
And so
Not-
they respect that.
Yeah, Sam Howell's going to be the
And I
starter
think,
there.
is he going to be the starter?
Yeah,
They
they said that.
Oh, that's a mistake.
Come on.
That'll be till week 3.
Yeah.
We'll see Jacoby plenty
I don't
this
know.
year.
Yeah.
Jacoby's not a starter, though. I just don't think
He's not a
it-
frontier starter,
Yeah.
but if you have a team that has a really, really good defense and can keep you in games,
And
and
a
that's
nice
what the Browns
running
lacked
game.
last year. Look, he scored points. Their offense moved the football.
Yeah.
He overachieved with this Browns offense
He's better
last
than Howell.
year.
He's better than Howell.
I think he is too.
It doesn't matter when you have guys like that. You're always looking to get the next best
Yes,
guy.
he's
You
he's
can't
not a
win with
long-term
those
solution,
guys. Yeah,
but he can be a bridge until you draft a guy or
yeah,
until
we'll see what they do.
work out for a guy.
I don't know. All these bad teams are going to be looking to get a quarterback
But
in the draft.
can anybody even remotely disagree with me when I say that the quarterback tree is already decided? Like, I don't think there's anything up for grabs.
I agree. Do you think Dorian
mean,
Thompson-Robinson could end up as the
They're not
backup?
going to keep Mond over Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
No, certainly
not
not.
a chance.
No, the only way it happens, like you say, for instance, in some far-off land, if they said we're going to play DTR and we're not playing Dobbs, and the Eagles play their starters, and he come out there and light them up till like the third quarter.
Yeah, I get that. That maybe.
that might change my
Then
mind.
you'd be like, okay, we got to talk
I
about
just
something
think-
because he just lit them up.
Yeah.
I think.
But they're not gonna do
the
that,
odds
and
of
that won't happen.
happening is very
Yeah,
slim.
because the Eagles probably won't play their guys.
Yeah.
And it's something to be said. For now, can I see him taking over that position? Yeah, because I think that he may be better than Dobbs, just on what I've saw. But they're not going to run that risk because here's the thing. I know that the little computer scientist, rocket scientist Dobbs, can memorize all the plays. Like, he can memorize any playbooks. You're going to be able to run all your stuff.
Right.
You're still going to be able to run some of the stuff with the read option in his legs.
8 of 16, though, with a bad pick.
It was a horrible pick.
A really bad pick.
It was a bad one.
I'm just not worried about it. I just keep Deshaun
And I know
Watson on the field.
and
yeah.
you're the pragmatic. You're like, never going to happen, never going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't need to remind everybody where Tom Brady was drafted. I'm not for a second
Sure.
saying that DTR is going to be the next Tom Brady. But when Tom Brady was at this stage of his career in New England, 2 weeks in, if anybody would have said he's going to take Bledsoe's job,
Right.
everybody that said that would have been run out of town on a rail.
Right, but if
And DTR had a much, much more
I
celebrated
hear
college
you.
career than Tom Brady did.
But in the end, the percentage of quarterbacks drafted 5th round or later that have succeeded in the NFL is
You're
very
100%
slim.
right.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Right.
I totally agree
It's a
that I
long
like what
shot.
I've seen.
Yeah.
But I don't want to rely on it. Well, I don't want the Browns to have to figure that out now.
Yeah, I don't either.
we don't want that to
If
happen.
they stumble upon it,
Beautiful.
then, and you
Beautiful.
got another Bledsoe situation
Yeah.
where all of a sudden you're saying, wow, they were paying Bledsoe over $100 million. They were committed to him. And then back then, I think he might have been the highest paid quarterback when Brady supplanted him.
I think he was.
And everybody thought there's no way that Brady's going to
Right.
win this job long term.
And that was it.
And he did, just because he played when he had
Yeah.
the opportunity. He played really, really well.
Kellen Mond could just be cut. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
there's another guy that could be cut, too, that I think everybody could agree on, Anthony Schwartz. Like, I don't know what we're doing.
Before we get to that,
what we're doing.
We'll talk receivers in a sec, but I have a PCC read to do about our quarterback 2 situation here in Cleveland. And whenever we do a PCC read, it's brought to us by, of course, the namesake, PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Last night, we put a poll out on our YouTube community tab. 1,800 votes. 1,800. We asked, who would you rather see be QB2 for the Browns this year? Not who will end up winning the QB2 job. Who would you rather see?
Can I predict it?
Sure.
83% Dorian Thompson.
I'd say 70.
Robinson.
70 DTR.
G? Give me a percentage.
66.
And for the first time ever, Bull is the closest on a YouTube guest.
Well, I know our fans.
85% went with DTR.
Again,
15 went with Dobbs.
The chat room is brought to you by Kool-Aid.
Man,
And they've
Kool-Aid.
consumed it all hook, line, and sinker.
Get your 3 flavors of Kool-Aid at Speedway right now. Hawaii orange, raspberry cherry red, and
Which would stain your tongue for about three
yeah.
weeks.
the woman's favorite, Jungle Juice.
Ironically, though, gee, that was funny.
Bars.
Ironically, real quick, though, we had 1,800 people vote in that poll.
Pause.
Super.
Give
We
me
had
some
26
pause.
comments.
Gee,
Of the comments,
hit me, G.
a lot of
Pause.
people with
Super
the
pause.
kind of right, or not right, but the kind of take that coincides with what Bull and you guys had said that
Yeah.
Dobbs has the experience. So the people who commented on the poll
Yeah.
are in the silent minority. They were more on the Dobbs
And
side.
they're also
The
right.
voters itself went with
not forget
DTR. So thought that was
Boy,
interesting.
that really does drive home the mentality of the fan base.
Yeah.
And
by
more
the
than
way,
anything.
it's not even just Browns fans. I'm sure you get
Everywhere.
almost every other team, the fan base would vote the same way.
Yeah.
But especially, I think it's more noticeable on teams that have not had success. That the fan bases are so desperate
Yeah, they'll try
for
anything.
a sign of we got a special player that nobody else knew about.
We got a bunch of special. You know what? This happened on the pivot. Nick, which check out is Ryan Clark. Is on there. Who else is on there? Channing Crowder and Fred Taylor for the play for the.
What is the pivot?
It's a players kind of podcast.
Oh, okay.
It was like it's a podcast. It's on. It's kind of a spinoff of I Am Athlete. They were on there with Brandon Marshall before they created their own.
Okay.
So they came to training camp last week and did an interview with Nick Chubb on camera for about an hour,
Wow.
which was really rare because
Wow, he
Chubb
doesn't give that much- yeah.
No.
So they asked him, was he kind of was he kind of annoyed a little bit that sometimes he may not get the type of credit or admiration that maybe somebody like a Saquon Barkley who hasn't done as much as he has. Nick Chubb said something I thought was super dope. He said, well, maybe outside of Cleveland, other people get a lot of love because they was telling him that he was the top running back in the game.
Yeah.
He said outside of Cleveland, other running backs might get a lot of love, but he was like, but in Cleveland, I'm the man. He's like,
is.
he's like,
I actually
he's
don't
like-
think he's
like,
underrated nationally anymore.
Yeah.
I think he was at one point. Every football fan I know that's not from here is like, oh, Nick Chubb's the best. Every person I know.
There's in the media, and this I'll get the media.
The national media
and
is
the
all over Nick Chubb.
The national
Yeah.
media, I'll give them credit.
Yeah.
They drinking that Kool-Aid because
That's not even Kool-Aid with him.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
The
just-
only time he's not on, people get this mixed up. He's never as high as some other guys on a fantasy list because he's not as good a fantasy
Right.
running back
Well, he
because he
doesn't
doesn't
catch
catch
the
a lot of
passes.
passes.
Right.
And so
And that's
people turn that
weighted
into
so heavily.
disrespect.
Right, I
It's
know.
not. He's always the highest drafted running back in fantasy of the non-pass catchers. Always.
And they don't hand him the ball. Like some people, he's better than Derrick Henry, but some people will rate Derrick Henry higher than him because the Tennessee Titans are more committed to giving Derrick. They'll give Derrick Henry the ball if he's working 32 times. They have no
done it.
problem.
They
They've
did
done
it
it.
a couple of years ago.
They're
down
the only
stretch.
team that Henry's the only player that gets significantly more touches.
Right,
than
right. So,
Chubb.
but he is. But I thought that was cool
Yeah.
because he said, no, like here in Cleveland, the fans love me. I love his eyebrow. I don't even look to go nowhere else. Like, he's just like, I just love it here. And
He wants to end his career here, and hopefully that happens. There's a lot of things going on there, but hopefully it happens. All right, get to wide receivers. Should we do that now?
Yeah, we had a trio of receivers. Anthony Schwartz continues to make things hard on himself.
Didn't he have two
another
drops?
pass.
I thought he had 2 drops.
What is this hard for himself? Why is he even? I heard G on the barbershop I was listening to. I was listening to G, and Earl was on there, and Tyvus was on there, and then I sent like a 12. I sent like this long text to the 3 of them with like 12 bullet points from their show.
He did.
Some on baseball, some on football, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, like some thoughts on what they were discussing.
Right.
But one of the things I didn't put on there actually was that G made a point of saying that they had plays for Anthony Schwartz. So you think he's still in the mix?
Because they keep trotting him out here.
Yeah, but one of those plays went to Elijah Moore.
Yeah, like
On
that
Friday.
was
true.
one of them.
And you know what that said
And he
to me?
did something with it.
Here's what that told me. Bye, Anthony.
Yeah, I don't even know why he's on the roster.
I don't either.
I have
It is
no
It
idea.
is one of the biggest head scratchers I've ever seen.
He's not. So let me give you this. If you go back and look at Anthony Schwartz and go back, they did I think a 30 for 30 for him on him. Not even 30 for 30. It's ESPN. They did like one of those pieces where they go behind the scenes.
Right.
Anthony Schwartz was a track guy, right? Anthony Schwartz did not have a supreme pedigree. He even like sat out a year, like because he wanted to do track. He is not an honest to goodness football player. He's not.
Really?
He's not. Yeah, he's not a football player. He's just not.
We've seen that with our own eyes.
I mean,
it's just.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a terrific young man, and I really do root for him. I mean, every time he drops it, I'm like, oh my God, bro, they're giving you every chance.
Don't throw it to Stonehand.
I mean, Corey. We got Corey in the studio.
Yeah.
Head track coach at Rutgers. How many guys that come out for the track team? Like, man, he fast as hell. He's like, yeah, I'm fast. I'm about to go off for the football team. And Corey's thinking, don't do that.
Corey's told
Don't
kids.
do
Corey's
that.
told kids.
It's not the same, bro.
No. And here's the enamoration is that football guys look at track speed and they say, hey, give me a world-class sprinter and I'll turn him into a football player. But look at the list of guys that have tried and failed that.
Yeah.
From Ronaldo Nehemiah, which goes way back. I'm dating myself. But, well, hell, even before that, who was the Dallas Cowboys, the former world sprinter that they turned
not
into a
coming to
wide
me.
receiver?
Willie Galt was trying.
Willie Galt has tried it.
John Ross.
John Ross, they might have a little bit
Yeah.
of success, but, Marquise Goodwin is probably the most decorated track/football guy that I can think of.
Yeah.
Does Tyreek Hill count?
Tyreek Hill never ran. No, he doesn't count. No, because I don't think he was ever just a track guy, was he, Corey? No, he was never good at track.
He never actually, okay.
So, I mean, he's fast, and he's faster than your average football player.
Yeah.
But on the world stage, well, look at DK Metcalf. Thought he was going to bust out there. He impressed some folks, but there's a difference between world-class speed and super fast on a football field.
Man, DK Metcalf looked like he had a refrigerator on his back trying to run up them
Against the pros.
Them dudes, they start just crazy. I'm like, you look way too heavy.
Yeah.
DK,
Well, he's so big and lumbering.
it's just not.
But he is fast.
He's fast.
Bottom line, though,
not
Anthony Schwartz is not a football
fast.
player. There's no reason for him to be here.
No.
There's no reason to keep him.
What is the reason that they're keeping him around?
I assuming it's just that
The rules?
nobody's really been cut at this point yet.
They don't
most
cut
guys,
nobody. It's 90,
They can.
They keep 90
Well,
people.
they have released a couple of guys,
Yeah.
and then they've quickly signed guys
Right.
back on. But I don't get it.
Maybe they're hoping. This is what it is. It's just, everybody done been in a relationship. Well, you know the relationship's over. But every now and then you see each other. She looks good sometimes when you go on dates. And you're just trying to rekindle and hang on to it. Hey, let's go watch some movies. No, you don't need
You're
to watch
hoping
movies.
there's something there.
Yeah.
There's no spark. You're doing it for the children. Get up out of here. Just cut it off. Just go ahead and get ready for the child support, bro.
Yeah.
Like, if the kid is 16, all you got is 2 years of child support. Don't mess around and get another kid, and then you're going to have to start from scratch. And then you're going to do 16 2 years and then do 18 years again. No, just chalk it up. Get rid of it. Sorry.
By the way, I'm going to be honest. I never even heard of the Browns' second and third leading receivers in this game. I never heard of them.
Austin Watkins?
No, Watkins we heard.
No,
of.
Watkins
no,
played
he was
very well.
first.
Yeah. Oh, you said second and
Second
He's
and
gonna
third.
get minutes.
They got some, and there's nothing more that Cleveland Brown fans love than a random white dude playing wide receiver.
Well, we've
you
talked
know
about that before.
Yes, who is?
Every year there's a random white
It
dude.
all
who
goes back
plays-
to Brian Brennan.
They love it. Miller Forrestal.
No, he's a tight end.
He's a tight end.
And he's a good tight end.
I had no idea who he was.
Oh, yeah.
No, let me tell you something. So he was
yeah.
one of the guys that I wanted to talk about, actually.
Yeah,
Good, because I had never heard of him before.
Big pedigree. Where did he go
Where
to
did he
school?
come from?
Where did he go to school?
I believe LSU, right?
It's a big school. I don't think LSU.
Actually, their second league and third league receivers are both tight ends. Zaire Mitchell-Patton.
Yeah. But
Alabama, sorry, not LSU.
Yeah, Alabama.
Alabama. I
Alabama.
apologize.
Yeah.
This guy played at Alabama. He's got great pedigree.
he'd be open.
And you know what? I mean, here's the thing.
What was he, undrafted?
No, this is his third team. I think he's 25, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's 6'5", 250 in his third season. He has one target in his NFL career. So
One.
he never got a chance to
But he
actually
flashed
produce
to
in
me.
the NFL.
Like, not just his, obviously when he's catching passes, you're
Yeah.
like, okay. But
Had
even
you
when-
heard of him before this game?
I did. I had heard of him before.
Okay,
and
I
I
hadn't
knew
heard
he
of
was
him.
an Alabama guy, and
Yeah.
I thought when we had him in camp, I thought,
Yeah.
he's a long shot. But we're looking for somebody to step up and be a really solid number 2 tight end.
Is Harrison Bryant hurt?
But they
No,
got...
Harrison Bryant's kind of in trouble, I think.
Yeah, but they already
Hasn't
got...
looked good, and I think he is nursing an injury.
Yeah, but Akins is going to be
Oh, yeah, yeah.
their
Think.
second.
You would think.
I mean, he has that relationship with Watson. I assume he's going to be here.
You would think, but man, I got to tell you.
I mean,
this-
Harrison Bryant has done decent job on the field as a third tight end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's up with him.
Yeah.
He ain't even played.
he's not
all
helping
year.
himself right now.
No.
Though, if he can't get on the field.
No. So maybe one of these guys makes it. I mean,
Maybe. I don't
they've
know.
bounced around from practice squad to practice squad.
But Watkins
Forstall-
again, though, flashed to me. I thought Watkins,
Yeah.
he looks like an NFL wide receiver.
He catches
I'm
the
not
ball.
saying he's a starter, but when you just look at him and on the eye test, I say about now Anthony Schwartz has never looked like an NFL wide receiver.
No, he's
to me.
making a case to make
This
the team,
guy
no
with
doubt.
his routes and his hands. When I watch him, I say, oh yeah, I could see him being an NFL wide receiver
Yeah.
right now.
Well,
Now,
Marquise Godwin's, the fact that he's probably not going to play, I assume.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Goodwin is done.
Yeah. Marquise Watkins. Did I say Marquise Watkins?
No,
you
you
said
said Godwin.
Oh, I did say Godwin?
That's
Okay. Has opened the door for a guy like Austin Watkins to make the team. And
And
he's kicked through it these first two
through the
games.
door.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Bell got on the board yesterday.
he scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
So right now, but Watkins has looked better than Schwartz. He's looked better than Bell. Tillman, he was open on the route, kind of dropped the ball a little
Yeah,
bit.
he didn't do
he did.
anything.
But it looks like they like him for the reps they're giving him because he's out there with the ones. But then again, you haven't seen an Amari Cooper sighting. Donovan Peoples-Jones hasn't
He had
even.
some catches on Friday. DPJ did, didn't he?
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
Did he not catch
No.
a ball Friday?
I don't think DPJ played. No.
Oh, okay. That's my mistake. I thought he caught a ball Friday.
But the guy who did play, Elijah Moore, yeah, they look like they about to spot shadow him.
Yeah.
They about to feed him.
and him getting the ball out of the running back
Yeah.
or out of the backfield tells me that they believe the package of plays that they had for Schwartz,
Yeah.
I think they're just going to put in Moore's lap and let him carry the
Yeah.
ball.
I think Tillman, Bell, and Watkins are probably receivers 4, 5, and 6.
I think that's it.
Right?
I do. I think that feels like it to me.
Yeah.
Feels like it to me. Here's Elijah's run out of the backfield.
And according to all reports, the injury, he did leave the game.
That's right.
The X-rays came
Not
back
serious.
negative.
Yeah, ribs, right?
Correct.
Ribs, but not serious.
Came back negative. His status for Thursday unknown. It doesn't
Yeah,
even
he
start
won't play
to play
Thursday.
anyway.
I-
But
I would not play him
Rest
the
of
rest
the
of the
year.
preseason
Yeah,
Rest of the year.
because he got
Chalk it
banged
up.
up.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I think you just nailed it. I think that those are receivers
Right.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Honestly, as I'm watching the game, I'm trying to think where are the positions because I was looking at maybe a tight end. That we could have a change at one of the tight end
Yeah.
spots. Guys, I think there's maybe 4
Not
or
a lot.
5 spots that
Yeah.
are up for grabs,
That's
and
it.
that's it. And I can't remember the last time we were halfway through Browns camp where we were saying, yeah, there's probably only 4 or 5 jobs that are questioned.
That's it.
And most importantly, I don't think there's any, are there any starting jobs that are
No.
there are, and we're going
Whoa.
to talk about it in 1 sec. I'll bring it up.
linebacker maybe?
But first, before
No,
we do that,
he's going somewhere else. It's
You
not,
know where
it's
I'm going,
not up
Jay.
for grabs, though. It's not.
Yo. Well, we'll get to that in 1 sec.
No,
If
it's
you guys
not.
are not already a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, what are you waiting for $1.99 a month? That gets you into the starters tier member of the membership. You get some custom emojis, loyalty perks, and much else. That is David Bell. David Bell, if he was not part of our squad. He is now because Steve punched him up as a member when he meant to punch up the members tier graphics. So David Bell, welcome to the UCSS family. That gets you custom emojis and member-only community posts for $4.99 a month. You can be in the Stefanski tier. That's the coaches tier. It gets you all those same starter tier perks, plus overtime videos, member shout-outs, and much, much more. We got some new perks rolling out for our coaches tier members once football season officially starts back up in the regular season. So check that out. Jay, you mentioned no starting jobs are up for grabs.
Yeah, you're going to say the Cade York, the kicking job is up for grabs.
I do beg to differ. You don't think so?
It's not up for grabs.
No.
Did you listen to the post-game news conference? Now, yes, coaches have been known to lie, but, I mean...
They're not going to give up.
They're not.
What sucks about the kicking situation, and this is just a problem, and this is...
Stefanski was dead out. No, we're not bringing anybody in.
And I don't think they should
I don't
or
either.
will.
I don't think they should either.
But
I think I'll dead
it's
wrong.
a tricky spot because
You're the king of knee-jerk right now, Duke and knee-jerk.
The problem with kicker guys,
Bo, you go.
If you have a young player at another position who's not ready to do it yet, you can keep him on the bench.
You can.
You
can't
do that at kicker.
No.
And it's so important. And right now, it's hard to have much faith in Cade York.
It is. No, I'll give you that.
I don't want to see the tweet. I don't want to see a single effing tweet from any of the Browns beat reporters telling me about Cade York's 70-yard field goals in practice. I'm sick of hearing that shit. It doesn't matter. I only care about what he does in the games. And he was inconsistent as a rookie. And I pretty much ignore all preseason except for the kicker. Because the kicker, it's no different. In fact, it should be easier because you know if you miss, okay, he's got no pressure. Nobody's competing against him. And it's not like if you lose the preseason game because you miss a kick, who gives a shit? It's preseason.
Yeah.
But
look at his percentage, anything over 30 yards. 30 yards and above. Look at that percentage.
That's terrible.
That percentage has to be like 60.
Every kicker under 30 has a
The big one to me is the 50-plus because he's been marketed as a guy with a big leg.
That's why you drafted him.
Steve Cox, older Browns fans will remember a guy named Steve Cox. He was a punter, but he was also our long field goal guy. Mm-hmm. And he could kick the ball. He could make field goals from 65 yards, which back then was the extreme. He was probably had the biggest leg of anybody in the NFL, even though he wasn't a regular kicker. But I don't care if you could kick 65-yard field goals. You've got to make 65-yard field goals.
That's it.
I don't care. We could sign 10 guys right now from Major League Soccer that could come in here and kick the football off a hold over 70 yards.
Yeah.
That's not what separates – that's not what makes kickers in the NFL. You've got to be accurate. And at this point in his career, he has been subpar.
That's right.
Well below average. Now, all of that being said, you're not going to give up on him. You're just not. You're also not going to bring in a Mason Crosby. I know there are two I think Gould and
Robbie
Crosby,
Gould's probably the best.
I think he is too.
Yeah.
Last year, I mean, he didn't miss.
Yeah.
He was one of the best kickers in the league last year. He's 40.
Right.
What you're trying to do at this position is find, not a fix or a Band-Aid. That's what anybody that they're going to bring into camp is going to be.
Right.
You're trying to find the next Justin Tucker. You're trying to find the guy that you're going to put out there and never worry about.
And here's the thing. In addition to Tucker, right, the Bengals kicker, Evan McPherson, the Steelers kicker, Chris Boswell.
It's a great division.
Might be the second and third best kickers in the league.
And you know what? It has to be because of the conditions.
That's right. And those teams, when their kicker goes out there, they're 100% confident. Doesn't mean
they're
always going to make it, but they're 100. Right now, as a Browns fan, you have no confidence in
No, you know what? I would say right now, when they bring him out, you're like, you're going, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Here we
It's
go.
must-see TV.
Yeah, because you're on the edge of your seat. Now, again, small sample size. He's 0 for 2 in his kicks. He's missed. One was 45, one was over 50, I think. But you got to make them.
AJ, I'm with you.
No, clip
But
this.
if we get to the middle point of the season and he's cost them games,
No.
they're going to have to make a change. You may not want to,
If that's
and you
the
may regret
only
it long term.
Here's why they won't do it and haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Last year, he wasn't the reason that they didn't make the playoffs. But if you're 6-4 and you've played really well on offense, and Deshaun Watson's hitting on all cylinders, your defense is great, and you've lost 2 kicks with 2 games because you missed at the end. If you're the reason your team is 6-4 and not 8-2, you're on the unemployment line.
You're out.
Line.
You want him out now?
I tell people like this all the time. I'm gonna give an example. Now look, we'll give you a little black history. You say, G. Bush, what the hell does this have to do with kickers? Even Harriet Tubman, when she was freeing people in the South, she would go back and make multiple trips, hundreds of trips, freeing people. She would tell them, listen, I got a bunch of people with me, but if you think that you're gonna come along on a ride and then you get us caught because you want to go back and turn back and look back because you're scared, I'll shoot you myself. Because I'm not going to jeopardize everybody in the camp for one person, and that's the way you got to look at kickers. I will refuse.
You got to shoot them.
No, we ain't gonna shoot them.
It's like racehorses that fall on the backstretch.
But I will go get me somebody in a heartbeat. Because here's the thing. I'm telling you right now, this guy's going to cost you a game. And it ain't even going to be the field goal route. It's going to be the most disrespectful, painful route.
Extra point.
The Browns have tied the game, and they need an extra point to win in dramatic fashion. Oh, my gosh, he did it again. Cade York has to be sick, and the Browns lose. If Jimmy Donovan comes up and hits us with that, we are going to be sick.
Yeah. His leash is getting shorter by the miss.
No.
Shorter by the miss.
Who would have guessed that after he made that kick against Carolina in Week 1 last year? You would never have guessed that a year later we'd be talking about will he get cut?
Now, I'm not asking that question because I'm here to tell you he's not getting cut. Kevin Stefanski was asked point blank about it. Are you concerned? Not at all. And he went on to say, look, he's doing what young kickers do. He's trying to get better at his craft. We feel very comfortable with him. Are you going to bring somebody in for competition? No. Now, one of the arguments why you wouldn't do that is because you don't want to damage his psyche. For me, that's the reason to do that.
Yeah, sure.
I want my kicker under constant pressure.
He needs to feel pressure.
At the end of every game, he should have a sit-down with Kevin Stefanski where Kevin tells him, you're good for another 6 days.
That's it.
I want my kicker living under pressure.
That's right.
And I don't like that there's not another kicker in camp.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
But Kevin was asked point blank, are you going to bring someone in? And he was unequivocally no.
That's going to be a very hard sell to the rest of those people in that locker room.
That's right.
Because they're going to say, we have a championship caliber team, and we lost the game today because somebody did not do his job.
The only guy in camp without competition.
Right.
There it is.
And the rest of them are playing real football, and this guy is, if he's missing, costing them games.
I would be for them bringing in a kicker.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd bring in – I think Crosby and Gold, they're going to kick. There's no doubt about it. They're going to kick for good teams. They just don't want to go through camp. They're sitting back. They're they're going to end up on rosters. And I don't think it will be Cleveland. The problem with what happens once you get to Week 8, there's 32 jobs on the planet. When Cade York loses his, now your drawing pool is guys that weren't in the top 32.
If he doesn't kick well, he's not making it to Week 8. So I don't think.
Let me throw this scenario out.
It depends on what's going on with
you threw the team. You threw the Tucker scenario out really quickly. If you knew that this year Cade York would cost you 2 games and the ability to get to the playoffs, but if you kept him 4 years from now, he would be Justin Tucker, would you do it?
Keep him.
So you would say, I'm going to take now knowing that we could have made the playoffs, and I'm going to keep him.
When we cut, was it Carlson that we cut? Drafted, cut, Minnesota signed him. He's Pro Bowl kicker.
No, it's
Carlson was cut by the Vikings. Now he's with the Raiders.
Cut Austin Seibert.
Okay.
I should know it because
well, we've got 3 kickers, 3 former Browns kickers.
Zane Gonzalez.
No,
but the guy in Minnesota, I should know it because he's Jewish and he's only one of like 10 Jewish players in the NFL.
Is Daniels? Greg Daniels? Greg Joseph.
Greg Joseph.
That's him.
And he was really good last year.
And we let him go.
Right.
We let him go.
Wait. Can I say one thing on the kicking competition?
Yeah.
And this, I don't even know where I lie on this. I would like them to bring in someone.
I'm with you on that.
I get Stefanski trying to embolden Cade York as much as possible. Give him as much confidence because kicking, it's like baseball. If you get the yips, it's hard to get it back. And right now, Cade York has the yips. Yep. The fact that they won't bring in a second kicker, at least haven't yet, shows you that they're scared that if there's a competitive state here, and maybe I'm looking too much into it, that'll rattle Cade York's confidence even more.
No. If you're of that mindset, cut him.
Well,
absolutely.
That's kind of.
I don't think that's.
I don't think that's where they are.
Towards that side, I'm not sure.
I think there's no competition because he's their guy and that's it.
I agree with that.
And
I think Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski have talked about this. They're convinced. Now look, they have a lot of data points that we do not have, and that's practice.
Very true.
And by the way,
I'm told in practice, He's splitting the uprights one after
but
another
who
after
cares?
another.
Who cares about that?
I'll tell you
Yeah,
why
yeah.
that is important. If he can't do it like that, he'll never do it like
Well, that's
that
true.
in games.
Fair, but
so you need, and you said you don't care if he can kick it 70 yards. That is a commodity. That's a tool that other NFL teams
But it's
don't have.
useless if he can't
It's
make it.
useless if he can't make it.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is, like all players, if defensive ends at 22 were judged on what they are at 22, we might never have seen some of the all-time great defensive ends in the game.
Bottom line,
they've got to marinate. Yeah. You've got to go through a maturation process, and that's what he's doing.
And bottom line on the kicker, you don't need to have a competition necessarily. They wouldn't. It's not like they need to be in training camp.
Right? Yeah, you're right.
Robbie Gould could come in here and kick tomorrow.
I mean,
this Rodrigo Blankenship, he was drafted too. He was really good in college. Any of these guys could come in tomorrow and just be the kicker.
They could.
If he was say for instance the Browns get to the Super Bowl, right? Cade York is been hit or miss all year. He's only hitting. He's making about.
They're not getting to the Super Bowl if Cade York's not playing.
He's making 70. He's making 72% of his kicks, right?
It could happen, but it's probably not going to.
Would you get a veteran kicker?
No, for one game.
Heck yeah.
No.
Just so if I'm sitting there and it's a tie ball game and Cade York is, I'll trot the veteran out there. I swear I would. I would be like, no, he has a sample size. I would keep 2 kickers. I'm not lying. I would have, if it was between Cade York and Robbie Gould or one of those other guys,
Ryan
Zerline
Suckup, Mason Crosby, Rodrigo Blankenship.
Any of the Cundiffs. Give me one of the
Zerline's
Cundiffs.
got a job. Zerline's Giants kicker, isn't he?
Yes,
Jets?
and Zerline. No, he's the Jets.
Graham Gano's the Giants kicker.
Well, no, Zerline's for the Jets, and he hit
right.
like 2 50-plus yarders against the Browns.
So
it looks like he's ready to go right now.
I'd take me a veteran into the game, and I would let him know.
Let's worry about that if we have to.
Yeah, but you can play that. You say, okay, well, what if I got you could do it at quarterback? Tom Brady. Tom Brady's on the sideline. You can sign him for one game.
Did you guys hear the report about?
Are you going with Deshaun Watson, or are you
did
going
you hear
with
the
Tom
report
Brady?
about Philip Rivers this
Mike,
weekend?
What, is he throwing?
No. But they said if the 49ers had beat the Eagles,
Philip Rivers would have
they were
played.
going to call Philip Rivers. He would have started for them in the Super Bowl.
That would have been the most.
Because they didn't have a quarterback.
Can't turn your eyes away from it ever. They should have signed him before the Eagles.
I would have done that too.
Well, they got 2 quarterbacks. Who would think you gave 2 quarterbacks?
No, I know.
They should have gone after Drew Brees. Forget Philip Rivers. I would have taken Drew Brees.
I'd take either one of those.
Either one.
I'd take either one.
I signed both of them. Minimum.
Real quick, we got a super chat, then I got one more question for you guys. We'll move on. Kenneth Yablowski says Bjorkes as a holder with other kickers has not been good. We broke that down last year. Go check out the segment we did with Jay Feely about that. That was really good.
Yeah.
I asked you guys this before. I'm just curious, Jay and Bull specifically. When a kicker has the yips or when you have a closer that is not top tier?
Yeah, I got a strong thought on this, but I want to hear Bull's
which
first.
Moment gives you a bigger pit in your stomach as a diehard fan? When a kicker's coming out for a game-winning field goal who you don't trust, or when you have a 1-run lead against a good offense, you're sending out just a guy closer?
To me, not trusting a closer is worse. However, the only thing I'll say about that is these teams now, there's so many good relief pitchers that if the closer ends up failing, I'll just find another guy in my pen that can do it.
Yeah.
With kicker, you don't have that.
And this is why kicker is by far worse. If a kicker misses a kick at the end of the game and they lose, that is 1/16 of their schedule.
Yeah.
The closer would have to blow 10 games.
Which Class A has.
Which Class A has for it to be as impactful.
Yeah.
So for me, the kicker is far more important. Way more important.
On a team, it's so devastating when the closer blows a game.
It is, but it's one of 162.
You're right. That's fair. That's fair. By the way, Class A blew.
Oh, Saturday he was. I mean, are you kidding me? Saturday's loss was amongst the worst because while they were blowing a lead, I think the Twins lost 13-2. That might have been on Friday, but they also lost in their last at-bat Friday.
Friday and Saturday, walk-off losses.
Saturday.
You know
they did win yesterday,
but the Twins did too.
You guys are still watching. You're torturing yourselves.
I go back and forth a little bit.
let me say this. I'm not watching, but Corey and I were golfing yesterday. I had it on the radio.
Okay.
I like to watch when Williams and Bybee especially, I like to watch them pitch.
They're incredible.
They're both we're not going to talk for the Guardians for more than 2 seconds here, but the only thing that gives me any optimism for next year is that the idea of Williams and Bybee
as
Like
your 1
now
and 2.
with a year under their belts.
Bibby's going to be the American League Rookie of the Year.
I told you to bring him up. Bobby is the truth.
I don't know. It's
Let's
9 and 2,
go.
Bull.
no.
He has the
nobody
fifth
cares.
highest odds for Rookie of the Year.
Who's going to beat him?
I'll pull him up. Hold on one sec.
He's nasty.
And then we will get back to our
They
regular
both have
schedule of
ERAs
football.
under 3.
And his
crazy.
stuff, his stuff.
Nasty.
Both of them are
I
nasty.
mean, it's incredible that Cleveland's doing this with two pitchers, and not just it.
Young
Curry
boys.
has been fantastic.
Gunnar Henderson of
Logan
Baltimore
Allen. Wait, yeah,
is the heavy favorite.
yeah, but what's his what? Give me some of his numbers. How many home runs has he hit?
Tanner Bybee's the 5th choice right now, behind Gunnar Henderson,
Wow.
Masasaka Yoshida in Boston, Tristan Cassis, and Josh Young from Texas. Gunnar Henderson's had a good year, hasn't he?
He has 19 home runs,
Yeah,
52 RBI.
I thought he was like around 13 or 14.
What's his OPS?
776.
Okay.
Oh, that's not very good.
No,
That's just
I'm
above
telling you,
average.
I don't think it's a done deal.
It's not over
if
yet.
Bybee goes 13 and 2.
I don't think guys look at the record anymore.
Well, no,
I do.
but it's a stat. It's how we measure whether or not your team is winning when you're pitching.
Right,
I know that
but
you could be 13
like
and 2.
Gavin
like
Williams.
Cal was last year, had a good,
Right.
but he wasn't that good.
I
of a
just think
pitcher.
the other numbers are what more impressive. The
Sure,
fact he's
I
got
want-
like a 280 ERA.
Look at his Ks per 9.
His
Look
Ks
at his ERA. Look at his WHIP.
Yeah.
Everything's in place.
He and Williams have been the 2 best rookie pitchers in the American League.
by far.
Yeah, they've been, and even
they are.
Allen's been good. He's not as good as those
Yeah,
guys.
we
but-
got to get off the Guardians.
We got to get
first.
back to football.
Yeah,
Stevie.
we'll get
Before
back.
we do that, and we'll get to Jim Schwartz in 1 second, I just want to remind everybody one more time that if you head to fanatics.com/UCSS, you can get some elite Cleveland Browns swag and help us out on the back end. We get 3% of all sales that go to the Fanatics site. So if you're going to buy Browns gear for yourself, for friends, for family, for any presents, whatever you need, use that link. It's in the
Hey,
chat.
I not to interrupt, but I'm going to
Shoot.
interrupt because I'll forget this thought. Can we give away memberships to people that purchase Fanatics with our UCSS as an incentive?
Potentially, let me ask the people
reason-
who deal with that.
Yeah.
Let me ask. I don't want
Okay.
to say yes or no, but we will inquire.
The
It'd be a
reason
great
I ask
idea.
that is
Good
because
idea.
otherwise there's really no incentive for the Cleveland Brown sports fan to buy that gear because it's the same price. I mean, yeah, they know that 3% of the sales goes to us, but if we can give them something out of it, like a free
Good point.
membership,
I will look into that.
Okay.
I do not know the
Yeah, that
answer,
would've
but I
made
will look
sense.
into that. Let's get back to it. Jim Schwartz, first impression of his defensive guys playing with the starters. Obviously, they played the first game without most of these starters.
I got nothing. The starters didn't even play a full series.
no. But I want to hear from G on this because he has studied the hell out of
You love it.
Jim Schwartz's career, philosophy, background, and you're our defensive guru. So what did you make of it? Break out the Kool-Aid, by the way.
Let me hold on. Kool-Aid break in the chat. Cheers.
Hey,
Cheers. Hey, Kool-Aid man. Hey, I'm going to tell you this.
Gee, I feel like you need to like bust through a door right now.
Like that brick, like
Yeah,
our
yeah.
brick logo, with that
Yeah.
brick right there behind
Wow.
you. Would be perfect.
Yeah.
No, man. I'm still trying to get that workman's comp.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. But here's the thing. I told McNuggets was listening to me on the barbershop. I said this on the barbershop. One of the biggest things I hate in my life is I hate when you go to somebody's cookout, right? And they tell you, G. Bush, man, I got something ready for you. I'm like, okay, what we eating? Man, I got the dogs, the brats, the hot dogs, all that. The steaks is on there. But I got these chicken breasts. I'm going to tell you what I can't tell you what I do, but I marinated it 62 hours. I infused it with some lime juice in a braised skillet. And on top of that, I buried it in my backyard under some leaves, put it underneath there, dug it back up. And then I left it out on the countertop and put foil on it. Then after I put the foil on it, I threw it back in the refrigerator. Now it's on the grill, and now it's going to be ready. I said, when we eating? We eating at 6 o'clock. You told me to come at 2, and you done marinated this chicken for 48 hours. What's going on with that? It don't take all that time to be marinating chicken. Y'all think y'all be doing, your chicken was still dry. You marinated it for 6, it was dry as hell, and it was brittle. It was terrible. And I had to act like it was good because you let me borrow $50 last week. So I got to act like the chicken was dope. I say that to say this. People say, G. Bush, what does the story got to do with the doggone situation with Schwartz? You see, sometimes
Making us wait.
Sometimes you don't need no marinade. You don't need a long sample size to tell if something's good or not. Some people just put the chicken right on the grill and be done in 15 minutes, and you eat it and be like, damn, that was good. I didn't even have to marinate nothing. See, Jim Schwartz's defense don't need 72 hours and 45 games in the preseason to see if it's good or not. I saw what it was in 1 or 2 series. Look at the wreckage they caused. You got a safety. You got the guy Maurice Hurst had a half a sack. You JOK came shooting out the backfield, tackling somebody. We ain't seen that play never. Hey, Obo, the number 18 guy on our 19 on our famous. He heard.
I wonder what Bull's reaction was on that play.
First play, why break that down for us?
I'll tell you, man. You make a sack in the preseason against the great Sam Howell, I got to move you up that list.
Woo! I tell
Number
you,
17.
I tell you what.
Earl just moved him up to 12.
Bull, I did think of you right away.
There it is. Look at spot shadowing. There you go, Obo.
Oh, who's defending him?
Who's spot shadowing? Let me see.
A ghost.
Yeah.
Listen,
Tagboard froze.
Tagboard sucks.
Tagboard always
Tagboard
frozen.
I hate Tagboard.
Tagboard does suck, bro.
But
I hate
I
Tagboard.
will say this: the thing I like the most is I know that Jim Schwartz is the head coach of the defense, because when Stefanski took the offensive guys out, Jim Schwartz was like, "Oh no. Y'all ain't did nothing."
Wait, but the starters were out on that first drive. Some of them were.
Hey,
Some.
Yeah.
But he said, "Come and get your ass."
But he left some of them out there.
Get your ass back out here. We didn't see enough from you. And by the way,
Did you see his reaction when they gave up the touchdown?
Oh, it was hot.
Every other word was F,
hot.
Good.
and it wasn't funny.
They need it on this team.
He was going around checking
loved
people.
it. I
He
loved
was like,
it.
hey, who's that guy back here with one of them hats on?
Yeah.
Take that damn hat off, too. you ain't a quarterback or a kicker. Hey, what's up, Miles Garrett?
Well,
keep your hat on.
Yeah.
We
Stefanski whispers. You know, Joe Woods whispered, you need
I loved
the
it.
other coach to be a badass.
I loved it.
And that's what he is.
McNuggets texted
The
me.
defense, I thought the starters, what little we saw of them, looked absolutely good.
You know, I aside from the individual personnel, I was
Yeah.
looking more at scheme and approach and philosophy.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not going to, drink Kool-Aid on this, but I will say it was decidedly more aggressive than anything I saw under Joe Woods.
Yeah.
Ever. And
Now, you're playing against a non-quarterback.
Yeah, right. I
But-
get that. I
but
get that.
it-
But
love
to
the
me,
aggressiveness.
To me, it's a nice appetizer for what I think we're going to get once the regular season comes, which is going to be aggression. We're not just going to come with 4. We're going to have fresh legs on the field at all times.
Right.
I want to ask you guys something completely off topic. Sorry, McNuggets, but Corey and I, we fell on this conversation yesterday on the golf course.
Yeah.
It is widely regarded in the NFL that you have 5 offensive linemen, and that's it.
Right.
But as we have seen rotational defensive fronts become the thing, and combinations, and 3rd and 7, we're going to put this package in. Why is it we don't do that with the offensive line? Why don't we rotate those guys in to keep their legs fresh? I think we should too.
To some degree, right? And
I know the chemistry thing is big with the offensive line.
But that's a big part of it. But isn't the chemistry on the defensive line important too?
If I was,
I think situational defense takes precedent over chemistry.
Yeah, I do.
But I don't know why on 3rd and 17. I know you bring in a tight end.
That's a good idea.
But I think we're going to see the game change moving forward because all defensive coordinators now are saying, "Hey, 4 is good, 8 is better,"
right?
And they're fresh.
I will
and the
say,
offensive lineman by the 4th quarter, he's played 70 snaps, while the defensive line has played 35.
Yeah, well, a guy like Myles Garrett's obviously playing a lot more.
No, I know.
But still, there are guys who are fresh.
And guess what? There will be some offensive linemen that you will not take off the field.
That's right. But one thing I'll say is part of the reason they don't. I mean, the defensive linemen are running more, right?
Sure.
The offensive linemen are trying to stop them. The defensive, but if you look now that we have so much information and the teams have so much information about this guy versus the run
block,
yeah.
pass block.
If you have a guard
who's a run block specialist,
right?
Why
but
is he
he's
in
not
there
good
on 3rd
against
and
the
17?
pass.
Why is he in there on 3rd and 17?
So then
get his ass out.
Now
put somebody
the
in there.
problem is if you're switching them all the time, the defense is going to know what you're going to do.
Perhaps, but they're going to know what you're going to do on 3rd and 17 anyhow.
True.
There's no mystery to that.
Right, fair.
If I got DeJuan Jones, he is my short yardage tackle.
He's the guy that precipitated the conversation.
And we have a full segment, by the way, on DeJuan and Luke Whippler tomorrow and the offensive line depth. We had to save one thing from the game for
Browns
so
seem to have decent offensive line depth, which they need because they have a lot of injury-prone offensive linemen.
I know they do, but we do have good depth. But I think that, you know what? If the defense as shuttling their guys in and out and
Right.
keeping everybody fresh. I don't know why we haven't seen anyone do that yet with the offensive line, but I think it's coming.
And here's what's going to happen. Get ready for this. They tried to hide this from me. I've been looking at you. I understand. I found some stuff on the internet. They're going to put when the season comes, get ready for these tackles in 1-6 single back, 2 tight ends, shotgun plays. They're going to have 2 of those tight ends be tackles. DeJuan Jones is going to come in as a tight end,
right.
and he's going to cave the whole entire front side back. And
Look at that, the advantage that you get with that.
Yeah, sure.
And you're going to have Chubb running the ball, and on the backside, you still can keep another tackle on the backside and run read option. And guess what? On the backside, it's going to run just like a power play. I could give it to Chubb, or Deshaun Watson can keep it on the goal line. It's devastating. You don't even need tight ends down there. You don't need them.
That's true.
Hey, two things real quick on the defensive line, Juwan Jones. I bet you Jones catches a touchdown pass this year.
You think?
I do
It's
think
coming.
he catches a touchdown
It's coming.
pass.
I would love that.
He played basketball.
Fat guy touchdown.
Get ready for the jump pass right now. I'm telling you, week 3.
What should his celebration be?
It's going to be Nick Chubb throwing the touchdown to him, by the way.
No.
And Nick Chubb,
Wow.
direct
a
snap to
bold
the halfback.
prediction.
Damn, that's
Jump pass to
crazy.
DeJuan
and it's going to come on
Jones.
3rd and 11
Yeah.
in week 4 with 2:17 to go in the third quarter.
I would like to see
From
him
their
dunk
own
the
red
ball.
zone. Jones is running 80 yards untouched down
red
the.
zone.
Baker Mayfield calling the game for CBS.
But but in all seriousness, this is a real question. I am serious about Jones catch touchdown, but this is back to the
I think
defense
it's
real quick.
very likely.
How long has Tommy Togiai been a member of the Browns?
3. Is this his
3 years?
3rd year?
Yeah.
Yeah, third year.
Were you guys aware? Because I learned on Friday night. He wears jersey number 69.
Lunch.
I don't think I remember ever watching him make a single play before the sack
Tommy
on
told me
Friday
I
night.
don't wear 69.
Yes, he does.
He wear 93, don't he?
Maybe they switched.
He might have changed it before this year, which is why you don't remember him ever making
You
a
can
play.
take it full here, Steve. We got it. He's wearing 69 in the game. Maybe that's why it confused me.
Yeah.
But I looked at it. I was like, who the
Yeah,
hell? Who
there
the
he
hell's
is.
69? It was Togiai, and I was like, well, that's the first time
No,
in
that
a
guy-
year
You
and a
didn't
half
wear
of
that
watching
last year.
football.
I don't think that was
No.
his number last year.
No, that's Jeremiah Martin. Tommy Togiai. That's Jeremiah Martin.
That's Jeremiah Martin. That ain't Tommy Togiai.
Tommy Togiai's right there. Taking that-
93.
That's a terrible job.
Yeah.
out of
Oh,
you,
you
Mike.
know what? That's where I got confused.
Plus, look how tall he
right.
is. Togiai isn't that tall.
Well, hey, do you know what is another indictment of that? That I wasn't sure what number he was, regardless of the fact.
Well, that
that
I
he was
can
in a
understand.
play.
How did you think Jerome Martin was Togiai? He's black. Togiai's not black.
They were both in on the sack.
Now you know what it feels like when you get pulled over being black. I don't even fit that description. You have a
Hand
short
up my
Italian
bad.
man.
That's hand up my
Pull
bad.
him over.
My bad. My bad.
What?
It's all
I didn't
good.
know he was number 93 either, if that makes it feel any better. 69, 93, I had no idea what
Listen,
number
it's
he was.
easy to not know what number the guy is. He has,
He
I had no
has
idea
not
what
made
number he
plays.
was.
You are.
he's on
the
a
bottom
milk,
line
he's
of
on,
that is
he's
you're
on the side of a
correct.
milk carton.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and he did it. I was like, I didn't know he was 69.
You know what,
I'll
though?
be damned.
I
But
can't
I was
wait.
wrong.
I can't
was
wait to
wrong.
see who emerges. There are going to be guys on this defense that have been Joe Schmo that will emerge as players under Jim Schwartz.
Mike Ford.
It's going to happen.
Jordan Kanasic.
Who knows?
Can we talk
I
about?
probably mispronounced
We got to
his
talk
name.
linebackers, but first you got to
We're going there. Yep. I got one more read, and then we're done with reads for today, guys. We have crushed
Good.
the reads today.
Good job on the
Shout out
reads.
to us. If you are not already a member, actually, we did members. You know what we didn't do yet? On Wednesday, the next edition of Behind the Glass. Last week's episode, 14,000 views.
Wow.
14,000 views. Now, it helped that we had Shelby Harris breaking news 5 minutes before we launched. That helped. But if we don't do 14,001 views, me,
didn't
myself,
fumble.
Earl,
You
we
didn't
will be
fumble.
upset.
Unlike your Tommy Togiai thing, you didn't fumble.
Did not fumble that.
Yeah. Togiai was
No,
a
we
pick
crushed
six.
it. It has been a lot of fun. Earl, myself, Anthony get on. We will preview Thursday's game. I know a lot of the starters won't play, but we'll still give you a full preview. That will be
Love it.
Wednesday night Behind the Glass. Check it out. And with that, linebackers.
Another one's hurt, guys.
Lord.
Another one hurt.
I mean, he wasn't any good.
It's still, it's a body, and he's hurt. He's done.
I'm not worried
out
about it.
for
To me,
the
it was a
year.
nothing move.
I am, you guys know that I have been a vocal critic of how the Browns have devalued linebacker. I think that, I understand that teams are doing that across the league. I think the Browns have devalued them to the point where they're basically just saying, we can put anybody there. Doesn't matter who it is, we're just going to plug someone in at linebacker. And they might be right. Under Jim
that
Schwartz, they might be right.
They've drafted a lot of guys in the third, fourth round at the position. They just haven't hit.
You know as well as I do, though. Of all the positions on this football team, that's the one that they've deprioritized.
But I just think that's the case across the league.
It is. I mean, it's a trend across the league, but I think we have devalued it more than other teams to the point where it could be a detriment. Last year, it was defensive tackle and wide receivers. Remember, we sat here for 4 weeks in the preseason, and we kept saying, guys, where is the depth at D tackle? Where is the depth at wide receiver? We are thin at these positions. This year, I'm saying that this year it's linebacker. You've got to have an impact guy there somewhere, and I don't know who he is. And it wasn't Phillips, you're right.
Yeah, I mean,
he was depth. He was depth.
Yeah.
But
to me, the Phillips injury is meaningless for the season.
Is that your biggest area of concern for this football team?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
I think it hurts because it's another guy who has experience. We're back talking about bringing guys off the street. Like the guy knows, the guy has experience. He has some athletic ability. But you look at this linebacker core. One of the reasons I think this injury plays a role is because you still have guys coming back from injury. You don't know when Taki is going to be back. Anthony Walker is playing, but you don't know what type of wear and tear you have on these guys. Like he may come back and he may have to take days off of practice because he can't practice every single day. So now that gets you down to JOK, who's also small, who's also injury prone, has been injured 3 years. Now it's like, okay,
but they're not going to use that many linebackers anyway. Last week, you guys were panicking about the D line, then they signed Shelby Harris, and then we're saying Earl and G were. They signed Shelby Harris, and now they're the best defensive line in the NFL.
Because here's the thing, because they did sign him. If they wasn't gonna sign nobody, I would have still been mad. But they went out and signed a guy that can make them better.
Listen, you know this better than anybody. In football, guys get hurt all the time. There's always injuries. When you lose random dudes, it's a minor factor.
Bull, look at the track record now for injury at that position.
I hear you, but
last year we had 4 linebackers
whoever they bring
in the year on injured reserve.
Agreed, but whoever they bring in is going to be just as good, if not better. It just doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. I don't buy that. Here's the thing.
I don't either.
Here's the thing that I hear where people say this. They've diminished the role around the league. I play ball. I don't diminish the fact that somebody needs to get the ball carrier on the ground. Like, if we feel like you want to run around and play 7-on-7 and tap football, that's fine. But that's not the reality of the game. These linebackers are pivotal to getting ball carriers on the ground. How many years have we heard the Cleveland Browns, when they talk about tackling, they're terrible tackling teams? It's a difference between getting somebody on the ground after 5 yards and letting them score a touchdown. The reality of it is these guys that are coming off the street are not better than drafted players who've been in this system for 4 years.
But Shelby Harris was.
He wasn't undrafted. He played well last year. He's a cap casualty.
I know that, but they might do the same thing at linebacker.
Where's these linebackers?
Jordan Phillips going to play that much?
Phillips was Jacob Phillips.
He's always hurt every year. How much does he play?
You got to understand something.
But injuries like that happen all the time.
Yes, they do.
It's just part of the game.
So if you don't,
a lot to this team,
if you don't fill those positions,
you
will get beat.
I get it. But it's not like much has changed between yesterday and today. They were already bad at linebacker. Now they've lost it. The guy's just a guy.
So here's the thing. So you believe that you could be worse, but there's no worse that you can get.
I believe whoever they pick up and replace Jordan Phillips, it's going to be a non-factor, one guy or the other.
You believe
non-factor.
You believe guys.
That's the mentality that the Browns have too.
Listen,
and last year against the Falcons, when we couldn't find anybody to tackle anyone, it became your Achilles heel.
I just watched.
But why were you not worked up about it 2 days ago?
I have been. I've been saying all along.
But
why are we ignoring
every
linebackers?
position
But
in
I
1
wanted
year.
us to draft a linebacker.
They've gotten worse.
But they have drafted linebackers. They've just drafted ones that aren't any good.
We didn't draft one last year.
Wow.
And our linebackers last year, all of them ended the season hurt.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Maybe this makes sense.
Yeah.
You driving on the highway. You got 4 tires, right? 3 of the tires was really good, but you got one with a little tread on the top.
You're looking at a blowout.
You're looking at a blowout. Now, you get a blowout, right? You still got a spare. Once you use that spare in that donut, right?
You can only go 45.
Thank you. You minimize. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You minimize. And what do they say? When you get home, What are you going to do?
You got to get that good tire back on there.
Thank you.
But Jacob
Good
Phillips
analogy.
wasn't a good tire.
He's a better tire than a spare tire.
That's a good analogy. I
I
like
don't
that.
think so.
I think it's a really good analogy.
What has he done?
Listen, if the spare tire was better than Phillips, he would have been here already.
On. You can
Really?
He would have been here
Shelby
already.
Harris is better than who they replaced. He wasn't here.
You know, the Shelby Harris move strikes
Yeah.
me as a move that they knew was coming 6 weeks ago.
But nonetheless,
the Shelby
we didn't know that.
The Shelby
No, but they
Harris,
did.
the Shelby Harris move. I can give you another analogy. He's an expensive spare tire. Sometimes he costs $5-6 million. Sometimes you don't got enough money. You just need to go get you a tire to paycheck.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Let me
Do
get a
you think
$40
Jim
tire.
Schwartz is worried about this move? About this? Zero.
Of course
0%.
he is.
No. Come on now.
Look at Bull,
Zero.
of the defense as you're looking at it globally. Your concern, my concern,
Yeah.
Bush's concern, everybody's concern is the
I
middle
know that,
of the
but it
defense.
hasn't changed because this one guy gets hurt.
No.
It's no different.
What it does is
can't-
it shines a light on their philosophy that this is an
I just
unimportant
completely
position.
disagree with that.
Well, okay,
I know you
They
do.
have drafted linebackers year after year.
They didn't last year.
So,
Okay, you can't do it. You can't draft every position every year.
I'll give you another example.
They
and it's
drafted
beautiful.
J.O.K. High. They drafted, what's his name? Taki.
Well, the guy from Alabama they drafted high that's with the Patriots now.
Yeah, they drafted them high, but they got them wrong. It's not that they don't care about the position.
Right. Well, just because you got it wrong doesn't mean you don't go back to the well. You got to try it
You
again.
can't draft a linebacker every year.
So let me
You
give
should have
this.
drafted one last year when 4 of your
but last year
starters
you
ended up on
you
the.
can't fix every spot
So
every
let me ask
year.
you this
I get
question.
that.
Let me get you to this
Yeah.
one. So one of the positions that's marginalized that don't count is linebacker. Let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. On the opposite side, we know running backs have been marginalized. If one person don't make no difference, if Nick Chubb go out here and get hurt, are you going to say we cool?
No.
We
There
straight. We
won't
don't
be a
need to
big
get nobody.
drop-off.
We don't need nobody at
You're
running back.
comparing Jacob Phillips to
Oh,
Nick Chubb?
we talk about the position.
Yeah.
Jacob Phillips plays
Yeah.
linebacker. His position is minimized. Running backs are all over the marketplace. Good running backs.
Yeah.
Star running backs. That position has been minimalized.
Yeah.
If we are looking at it from a holistic approach, if that position really doesn't count and you don't need to go
Who's
get
saying
new
it
people,
doesn't count? I'm not saying linebacker doesn't count. I'm saying Jacob Phillips is just a guy. That's all I'm saying.
So okay, if Nick Chubb at that position at running back, because you could get a running back anywhere, we've been told you could get a running back off the trash heap. You get a running back in the 6th round. You could get free agents. If that doesn't matter, then if Nick Chubb got hurt, we don't need to make anything. We got Jerome Ford and the guys behind him and Kelly. Now.
No. Who said that?
We're in big trouble. If
We're
Nick
in
Chubb
trouble.
gets hurt.
I don't
Big
think.
trouble.
I think the only time you're really in trouble is if your quarterback gets hurt.
So-
anything else can be survived.
No.
But if Nick Chubb got hurt, yes, it would be a negative. A
That's
negative.
huge.
Not if you signed Dalvin Cook. It wouldn't be that big a deal. It wouldn't be.
But now you're saying there's levels to this thing.
Yeah,
And that's all I'm
Nick
saying.
Chubb's good,
That's
and
the
Jacob
levels.
Phillips is not. That's what it is.
That's levels, right? We got levels to it. Jacob Phillips is not.
He's a nothing.
He's not a starting linebacker, but he's better than guys walking off the street.
Is he?
Well, does it
I don't know
concern
that he
you at all
is.
that the track record of our linebackers
Yeah.
staying healthy? Are you concerned at all about that?
Of course it does, but it hasn't. Why am I going to get worked up about it now if I wasn't worked up about it last week? We knew
Maybe we should have been worked up about it at the
We
end of
knew
last
that
year.
the linebackers weren't very good. They decided to go with basically the same guys again and hope that they can stay healthy this
They did.
year.
And now
it
they're
may
not
work,
healthy.
It may not, but it's one guy. It's only one guy.
It's only been 2 games.
And I don't think he's any good. What's his PFF grade? Do we have that?
Who, Jacob Phillips?
Yeah.
Give me 1 sec.
I mean, come on. I'm trying to find it, but he's not even listed under the linebackers. Maybe he didn't get enough. The guy.
He probably didn't have enough snaps.
And how
to be
much has he
listed.
played?
He played a lot last year.
Well, it's not-
Jacob
it's-
Phillips' grade last year, not good.
I mean, he sucks.
Do you want to hear these?
Come on.
36.7 overall,
Hell, that's
30
above average. If you compare that to our defensive line last year, that's above average.
33.5 against the run,
Oh, my God.
46.5 in coverage.
Was he the last rated linebacker?
Give me 1 sec. I can double check on
No,
that.
I bet he was.
36?
I bet there were. God, look at remember our defensive tackles. I think the
40s.
highest one was like in the 40s.
40s.
36 is horrendous.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Awful.
He sucks. Who
Well,
cares?
well, I think we're kind of getting off track on the argument. I'm not concerned that he's hurt. I mean, does it hurt us? Yeah, a little bit. I think the bigger issue here was how they have devalued the position to the point where last year we had 4 guys in that group that ended the year on injured reserve, but we did nothing to improve that entire room in the offseason, either through free agency or draft. There's 2 tools to get better, not just draft. To me, it's literally like, yeah, it's linebacker, man. I'm not at all worried. We got some corners. We got some defensive linemen.
I don't think they feel that way. I certainly don't think
I
Jim Schwartz
hope not,
feels that way.
But that's what I'm from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And what little they did to address that group last year. Now, granted, the defensive line was a far bigger issue,
and they addressed it
way
big
more
time.
important.
Yeah.
But they put 100 eggs in that basket and 0 in the linebacker basket.
It would be,
and I would like to see them do like most great teams when they build. You parse it out here, you parse it out here. You got a little bit of resource here, you got a little bit of resource
Everybody's
here.
got one.
And the linebacker room
spot.
is just a bunch of guys.
To me, it's almost like you guys understand baseball. It's like you saying that we got 3 guys coming off Tommy John surgery, and you're saying, well, they need to get some guys to bolster that rotation. And they do nothing. And they're like, well, some of them, they'll come back well.
All
like,
I'm saying is that this is fine if you're worried about linebacker. I get it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why we'd be any more worked up today because of Jacob Phillips. Because to me, he's no better than anybody else on the street.
To me, it just gives
was
me
he
another
the worst linebacker in the league last year.
So he didn't play enough snaps to qualify. That's why you can't find it. If
Right.
you put his grade in the grand scheme of linebackers, he would have finished 78th out of 82.
I mean, come on.
Okay.
So what's
Bottom
the
of the
difference?
barrels.
Yeah, I mean,
That to me is a problem.
And now we
Like
got.
that you were counting on him in the first place.
but I don't think
is a
I don't know
problem.
that they
I
were.
agree with that.
On the flip side, I really did like what I saw from JOK, though.
I did too,
There were
yeah,
a
I
couple
did
plays
too.
where he blew it up in the backfield, and for the first time since at least I was as dialed into the Browns as I am now, he was playing aggressive, and it didn't look like he was thinking. He was just playing.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what Jim Schwartz is trying to wash out of him. Forget, just react. Just be a guy that sees the ball, follows the play. That's what linebackers are supposed to do. Yeah, you have assignments, but get to the ball carrier. That's your mission statement. I think what I said earlier, I think there's going to be guys that were just guys that emerge as really big pieces to this defense. He's the number 1 guy in my mind. I think he's got a lot more talent than what we've seen. And I think Jim Schwartz is going to tap into it.
I think what he's counting on, and this is where you transition from the linebacker position, I heard them talking about it. Jim Schwartz's defense is going to all about if we can stop you on first down and get you in passing situations. You might be able to screen us to death. You might be able to run the draw on us a couple times. But we're counting on that. We're going to bring so much pressure with the guys we have up front that you're not going to be able to run that effectively the entire game. And if we don't have the linebackers, we may see them doing things like saying, okay, well, if we don't have the linebackers out there to cover the guys, give me another safety out there. If I can put a Ronnie Hickman somewhere out there,
right,
who is a guy who's made some plays. If I can make Grant Delpit play in the box a lot more, a guy that can roam and tackle the football. Now we may get creative what we do at linebacker because now we have you in down and distance in which you got to throw the ball. So we want to get more of our pass guys out there. We want to get more guys that can cover the pass out there. Ronnie Hickman is a guy that I could foresee playing a deep safety role. And now you get Grant Delpit coming up, playing more of the run, some of the underneath stuff, covering tight ends and running backs. So you may only have one linebacker in nickel packages, right? You may not. You may only see maybe a Taki or Anthony Walker, and the other backer is JOK. And then now you can bring down some of the other guys to be force players. So that may be one of his strategies and maybe why they're not targeting linebackers as much.
And by the way, Phillips has only played 20 games out of a 50 possible games in his 3 years on the team.
That's
something. The guy is a nothing to me. So yes, I agree with you guys.
A body in camp.
I'm concerned about linebacker being their weakness. We'll see.
Yeah.
Steve Becker claims the Eagles never had any good linebackers with Jim Schwartz. That they never had any standout linebackers.
Is that true?
That's what he claims.
I mean, maybe standout.
He's an Eagles fan.
Obviously, his bread has been buttered by his defensive linemen.
That he just had guys that could tackle. We'll see if these guys can tackle. I don't know.
Okay, that's kind of important.
I mean, Anthony Walker.
Because last year we didn't have guys that could tackle.
Right, because guys got hurt.
And Atlanta ripped off what? 10 straight plays of over 12 straight plays?
I'll never forget the number 12 because
it's unbelievable.
And
that's still ringing in my head, too.
And the thing about tackling is the reason why guys get these pec injuries and because they don't practice tackling. So you can't tackle in 2 days. You can't tackle in practice, period. They don't hit each other. So now I'm counting on a guy off the street coming off the couch
That's
to
what you're going to have
tackle-
now. I
to
mean, you had
tackle-
Phillips before. Now your next guy is going to be a guy off the street.
Yeah, but that
to
guy.
tackle a world-class athlete.
I don't even know if Phillips was going to make the team. Do we know for sure he was going to make the team?
Yes.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was.
Why?
Because
I'm with
first
Bull.
of all, the lack of competition at that position.
But why? I mean, JOK, everybody's excited about him again. I don't know that I am, but everybody's
Taki,
excited.
JOK.
Taki
They're-
played very well late in the season. They have, what's his name? They're starting.
These guys aren't even practicing, Bull.
No, they are now.
But they're not practicing where they're going up
Well,
hitting people.
no, that's true. But
Why-
they're out there finally.
Plus, you got Kanasic, who's done a nice job when they've given him an opportunity. I don't think you need Jacob Phillips. I'm not sure he was definitely going to make the team.
I would have been surprised if he was cut. I mean, he's not going to make
Why?
it now. He's not on the roster now. So
At the end of the day,
they're gonna be in the market for a linebacker.
listen,
period.
I'm gonna tell you what.
I don't know. I will see.
Listen, when you go out there and you tell me that the San Francisco 49ers devalue linebackers. They played it. They are the number one. That's crazy to me. Terrible teams say that they're gonna devalue stuff. I'm gonna devalue it. Why? Because you thought.
Well, the Browns don't say that. You guys are saying
No.
that. Yeah.
all their what they've done though, that they've clearly devalued that. They've clearly been devaluing
I don't think
the
they have done that
linebacker
more than-
position for 6 years at least.
I don't agree with
Now,
that. They
have
drafted a number of high
Yes.
players.
Well, you got to have somebody in
Well,
there.
then why would you say?
But
So what's
last
the proof
year,
that
Paul,
they
what
devalued
What
it?
is a high player?
JOK was a second-round pick.
Yeah, okay, that's one linebacker.
They drafted the same. They took Taki in the
Mac
fifth round.
Wilson- Mac
but
Wilson
that
was a
year they
pretty high
drafted
pick.
Mac Wilson higher.
Mac Wilson-
How high are you going to draft a linebacker? Linebackers don't get drafted in the first round.
if they're great, they can.
How
if
how
they're
many
great.
linebackers have been drafted in the first round?
If
of
they're
this year?
great, they can.
Hence the word devalue. I'm telling you, they devalue. You keep telling
That's
me.
not the
like running
Browns,
backs.
G. That's
Hell.
every team.
I get that, but
Not
what
every
I-
team.
So
Yes, every team.
And what I'm telling
Some
you
teams
is
have really good linebacker
every
cores.
team don't do it, especially the teams that's number one in terms of what
The
they're
Browns don't have bad linebackers because they've devalued it. They have bad linebackers because they've gotten the wrong guys.
But, Bull, if it was a valued position and you ended the season with 4 of your guys in that position group
Yeah.
on injured reserve,
doing. With the worst run
if you
defense.
valued that position, it doesn't matter that you've drafted them in the past.
Yeah.
It's
They
today.
haven't panned out.
So guys get
So
hurt.
you've
You
got to
just
go
want them to
get
give up on them.
somebody that can put a body that is a talent that you
Again,
can put in that group.
I think we're going in circles now at this point because I get it. We all agree that the linebacker group is not that strong. I just think
I mean, you
making
they have 8 draft picks,
but
you
making
can't
a-
spend one of them on a linebacker.
making a thing of it. First of all, they didn't have anything higher than the third round. Was that last year? No, that was last year. They didn't have anything high.
Yeah.
I don't think this year they had anything.
Well, they did. They traded it for Elijah Moore.
Yeah, they did.
So they haven't had that many high
but
picks.
they've had a
period.
lot of they had draft picks.
So if they had
Third,
drafted
fourth, fifth,
if they
sixth
had
round,
drafted a linebacker in the 4th round, you'd be much more excited right now.
I feel a little
Come
bit
on.
better. Yeah, I would. I feel a little bit better.
But why? None of them they
because-
drafted have been any good anyway.
Because if that group is decimated by injury again, like it was last year,
Yeah.
I don't care how good your defensive line is. I don't care how good your defensive secondary is. You're weak in the middle, and teams are going to pick on that.
So a 4th round linebacker, some random schmo who you have no idea if any good,
Depends
is going to
on-
make you feel better about an injured linebacker.
if he can play, yes.
But we
And
don't
the
know that he
odds,
can play.
The odds of him being able to play are better than an undrafted guy off the street. That's where we're going. That's where we're
No,
going. with this.
the guys on the street are not undrafted. There are other guys who were 4th round picks who have been cut.
Maybe they're 36. Maybe they're 32. And they've been cut. Why have they been
I
cut?
will say I like Diabate. He's a guy that used to play for Florida. He went to Utah. I like him a little bit. He was a defensive end, kind of hybrid guy, 43. He's playing, they're really high on him. He's fast. He can move. He can get out the quarterback. We'll see what he does. But that's just a guy on the roster you can look at.
I think they'll be okay. Jacob Phillips is not an NFL player. It doesn't matter that he got hurt to me. It doesn't matter who they replace him with. They're not going to panic about it because he's not a player.
We'll see.
I wouldn't expect they'd be panicking.
He's
They're
done
not-
nothing. He's
they're not-
done zero
they're
in
not
his NFL
flipping
career.
through the Rolodex today, but I think that time will tell. Jim Schwartz, it's a different defensive coordinator, and that could change everything. Already, in a very small sample size, JOK to me looked like he's been reprogrammed. I don't know how you do that so fast, but he just played differently.
And if JOK and Walker and Taki and whoever don't get hurt, then you're fine.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
We did say last
Especially when
year,
you're only
even
using
though,
two
even though
linebackers.
we knew the defensive line and the wide receiver
Yeah.
room was bad, But, most of us thought, even though we knew we weren't going to have Deshaun Watson, most of us thought, well, you know what, they could be competitive. They could still do it, but their defensive line was a disaster, an absolute disaster.
Yep.
Your number 2 sack guy had 3 sacks. 3.
Yeah. Well, they've gotten much better talent. Now they got to prove it on the field.
Yeah, and hopefully they improve that group so much that the spotlight on the weak linebackers won't be as bright. Because in the Atlanta game, when everybody was blowing by the first wave of our defense, it was a unmitigated dumpster fire that the second tier couldn't tackle anybody.
They weren't any good. The bottom line is they were hurt. They weren't talented. If Taki played well until he got hurt last year, we saw the best football he's ever played.
Did too.
Anthony Walker, he's injury prone. You want to being critical of them for not adding other, like just bringing back the same guys who've been injury prone is fair. I just think that Jordan Elliott. I mean, I just don't care.
Jacob Phillips.
Jacob Phillips, not Jordan. I don't care about Jordan Elliott either. He sucks too.
Real quick, we just asked the YouTube chat what they thought. Who's right in this one? We had over 200 votes. J&G, 56% on your side. Bull on the other side of this one here.
Good teams. Like, I'll be honest, folks. Now, the Bengals haven't been a traditionally good team. If the Bengals lost a player like this, I wouldn't even give a shit. I couldn't care less. Good teams with good quarterbacks that know how to win, those injuries don't matter because that's just part of the game. It's what you expect, that guys get hurt. You can't be panicking about every Tom, Dick, and Harry 4th linebacker, 5th defensive lineman that gets hurt.
No, I don't
think want it to
That's
happen.
not why I'm panicking, just to be clear. And I've said this, but I'll repeat it. I'm only panicking because I didn't like this group before he got hurt.
To start
That's
with,
fine.
I like them even less now, but I didn't like them before he got hurt.
I don't like him. My likeness for their linebacker has not changed because of this injury. The guy was essentially the worst linebacker in the league last year.
I always tell people, you can say that position, whatever the case may be, but that's all fun and games until people start running the football. And guess what? Jim Schwartz's defense doesn't work if a team is always in 3rd and 2, 2nd and 4. That don't work that way because now they can either run or pass. So to get to what they want to do with the defensive line, the number 1 predicate is stopping the run. And to stop the run, you need linebackers getting downhill, shedding blocks, and making tackles within a certain.
Agreed. And Phillips getting hurt doesn't factor in to me. That wasn't any good.
Speaking of positions that overall throughout the NFL seem to be devalued is running back. And although we value Nick Chubb here on this show more than maybe any other program in the world, the Browns did bring in another running back in Jordan Wilkins this weekend to kind of give Chubb a little bit of at least camp rest with Jerome Ford nursing an injury. Guys, when you look at the signing, what's your thoughts on signing Jordan Wilkins? And is there any chance he ends up making the 53-man roster?
By the way, Mike, embarrassing by you that in your rundown you write, love this move, like this move, or don't care.
I do that for every move. Hold up. In
love
fairness,
it. It's Jordan
I send that
Wilkins.
out for all of it.
Yeah, Jordan.
Who's going to love that move? I mean, it's a nothing move. He's played in the league. I don't know if he's any good. Played for the Colts, right?
I look at it like this. I wouldn't play Nick Chubb during the regular season.
During the preseason.
During the preseason.
Yeah, if you're not going to play him in the regular season, I got a problem with that.
He's not going to see no touches. And so my thing is, I don't like hamstring injuries with second-round backs or any backs. Hamstring injuries linger on, and now it's a revolving cycle because you have a hamstring injury, you're not in shape. Right, and then when you get out there, then drilling is rushing.
You're more likely to re-injure
and you're going to re-injure it. So that's why hamstrings are very tricky. And then I think we've seen what's behind him. Kelly okay, Dimitri Felton okay. I got a problem with the move. It's just a simple fact that it's going to be a heavy dose of Nick Chubb early on in the season, which I don't even have a problem with. Because it's all hands on deck. If they got to give Nick Chubb some carries, it's okay. He works
I hope
out.
it's heavy dose of Nick Chubb. I want a heavy dose of Nick Chubb. If Nick Chubb gets a lot of carries, we're winning football games,
That's
by
it.
the way.
Well, that means they're salting games away late, with
which
him
means we're
running the
winning
ball.
games,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if he's got 14 carries, it means we were throwing the ball in the second half because we were down.
Right.
If
Most
he's got
likely, yeah.
25 carries, it means we're trying to keep the sticks moving and run the clock and win the game.
That's right.
That's it.
So-
Wilkins has done a nice job when he's in limited action in Indianapolis. He's a perfectly fine pickup. I haven't seen him play that much. I was just looking to see what he averaged per carry.
What is this per? I'd say 4.
It's almost 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
4.9.
and he's had about 200 carries in his NFL career. I mean, that's pretty good.
Well, guys,
So,
5 is holy grail.
Yeah, I mean,
area.
I was actually thinking a guy who could be a good fit in a very limited role for the Browns, who's out there. I was looking at some running backs out there. Is Rex Burkhead?
But he's old, man. He's got a lot of miles on his
He's
tires.
a really good pass catching back.
He is.
Though.
He does it
and
all.
the Browns
He's versatile.
could use like
But
a
God,
guy like
what
that.
is he? 32?
I don't know what he is at this point. I
Rex-
think Wilkins could play that kind of role. I'm trying to. I don't know how many.
Yeah.
He old.
I always liked Rex more than anybody else in the league did. Actually, I always thought
He's
you know,
33.
Yeah, that's old for a running back. That's ancient.
Yeah.
But I always thought that he did everything well when he got a chance to do it. He just didn't get enough opportunity to do it.
Wilkins has actually caught 41 passes on
How old is
52
Wilkins?
targets.
Oh, wow.
28, I think.
Wait.
29. He's 29.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
Wilkins is 29, but he's fresh. I mean, he's never
He hasn't played a lot.
opposed to Burkhead,
He
who
is a
has
pass
lot of wear and
catcher, though.
tear.
He can
Right.
play that pass catching role. I mean, he's.
Right.
If you look at his career, he has, 200 rushing attempts, but in the 52 targets.
is Kareem Hunt still unsigned?
Yes.
I think he is.
Yeah, which is a little suspicious
Okay,
because
so let
he
me ask
went
you
to
guys
New
this.
Orleans
I
and
know he did.
Indianapolis
and
didn't
doesn't
sign
have a
deal with
contract
either.
yet.
Yeah.
I know that Channel 3 upstairs wrote a piece last week about maybe the ship hasn't sailed on Jadeveon Clowney, and I laughed. I said, no, that
He
ship
actually, I
is
saw
sunk.
his name connected to somebody
Yeah,
today.
it's a couple teams.
Yeah.
But he's not going to play here.
No.
But I don't think I can say the same thing for Kareem Hunt.
We've been hearing stuff lately that Kareem wasn't happy, and
the Browns
I think
went
it's time
quite-
for him to move on.
So you don't think there's a chance
No, I
that he
don't
comes
think
back
so.
at all?
No,
No.
I think he's done. I think he was a little upset that in his role here, and now you talk about the role is going to be even more diminished because if Nick Chubb got to take a couple carries off,
Sure.
what you going to do with the second team running?
Right.
So I don't think so. I don't. Somebody. I reached out to some people and they said, he's kind of disgruntled throughout the year, and the Browns did a good job. Just don't rock the boat. You know what I mean?
Well, he
And
was quiet, unlike
was-
Jadeveon.
Yes.
Which is why if I had to
And he
bet
didn't play
on
well.
one of the two coming back, it would be Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt didn't play well. He didn't play well.
He didn't stand out,
No.
but I still think I'm a big
I
Kareem
think-
Hunt guy. I think wherever Kareem Hunt goes, I think you're going to see he's going to have more production next year than he had last year.
He's
I
not
could be
gonna start
wrong.
anywhere.
I could be wrong, but write that down.
He's
and
not going to start.
I still think there's places he could start.
I
Where?
think Jay's the last one on the Kareem Hunt bandwagon.
I might be.
Where
really
could he
do.
start?
I might
Why-
be.
Oh, wait, no, Earl's on it too. Earl,
you on it?
Name a place he could possibly start.
Who's Tampa Bay starter?
The kid they drafted last year.
Yeah. Rashad White, I believe his name is.
I mean, he's de facto already been named the starter, though. He's got the job.
I think so.
Well, I would assume that if we talk about Dalvin Cook, if you say if Dalvin Cook is available and Kareem Hunt's available, Dalvin Cook would be the starter.
yeah, Dalvin Cook.
No question.
Yeah.
Way
no,
better.
no
So
question.
he's
about
competing
that.
against.
I would argue, even though I'm not a huge fan at this point, I would argue Zeke Elliott's better than Kareem.
I got a question.
No, I disagree with that. I just think that Zeke's got less
about
in
Buffalo?
the tank. Buffalo? Why not?
Buffalo signed Damian Harris this offseason, though.
They got
Yeah, but
James
Kareem
Cook.
better
James
than
Cook
him.
played well for them down the stretch. I mean,
You know what?
these
though?
teams haven't been interested.
I know it's the running back position in general.
Buffalo's leading rusher is Josh Allen, really. I mean,
He is.
You
But yeah, guess what? That's going to get you a one-way ticket
Kareem
to being
Hunt's
irrelevant
not-
because he's going to get hurt. If he
Kareem
keeps-
Hunt is not going to have any better of a role anywhere else than he would here.
Well, I could be wrong, but I do think he's going to have more production next year than he had last
he
year.
doesn't even have a team.
No, I know, but I
You
mean
know?
he's going to play. You do agree that he's going to play?
I guess, but so far it's been
I
weird.
think you know
heard
what's funny?
Minnesota this week.
Here's how I describe the running
Yeah.
backs. It's a game of musical chairs, and the music just hasn't stopped. You know, everybody's
Yeah.
walking around, and there's certain chairs, but nobody's taking the needle off the record. It's just they just keep walking around and walking around.
I hear
now,
you.
when you get to week 3 of the preseason, where there's 2 weeks to go before the regular season, someone's going to stop. And once I think that first player signs, I think you're going to see the other big names go.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins to me are a situation. They don't have one. They have like 3 backs that they are okay, but they don't have
I
one
could see him
standout
being
guy.
effective in Miami.
But like Kareem Hunt's not going anywhere and getting 15 carries a game. That's just not happening unless guys get hurt.
Touches. With
I
Kareem,
doubt
I
it.
would
15?
say you would look at his touches,
But he won't
because he can catch passes. I just think that
Right, but I don't think he's getting 15 a game anywhere. No, otherwise he'd
I
be
don't know.
somewhere at
I
this
don't know.
point.
We'll find out, because
I'd
I
be
do think
stunned.
these guys are. Did I see Taylor's going to be back with the Colts this week?
He's back in practice today.
I mean, where we were 2 weeks ago, I never would have thought that we were going to be this quickly. Have him back in
I
camp.
just think the team's got their running back. So Dalvin Cook is obviously still excellent, so he's going to take over somewhere. But Kareem Hunt was subpar last year, and he's not young.
I think there's a. I think
Well,
there's.
how old is he? 28?
Kareem Hunt?
Yeah. I think he's 28.
I just think a 28-year-old running
28
back
years
coming
old,
off
yes.
coming off of subpar years, unlikely to
You
become
mentioned
really good again.
Rex Burkhardt, though, who was 33.
But I'm only looking for Rex Burkhead to have like 4 touches a game. You're talking about him having 15 touches a game.
God, 4 touches a game. What's the point? I mean,
Well, is Jordan Wilkins going to have more than 4 touches a game? I don't think so.
No.
I don't even know that,
I'm gonna tell you this. Like, people may say they don't see it. I think there's a formula where you have now punted and pushed all their chips in on the quarterback being everything. I feel like if you may not be able to win a championship with a great or star running back and just a great defense, but I believe that you can definitely beat an all-time quarterback if you got a top 5 quarterback, the best running back, and one of the top 5 defenses. I think you can win the game like that, because here's the thing.
it's just hard to get all 3.
It's hard to get all 3.
Right.
And that, if you get all 3 of them, and I look at the Browns, that's why I'm so tough on the linebacker position, because I think the Browns can win a different way. If Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback, Nick Chubb is still Nick Chubb, and they got a top 5 defense,
Hell, if all that comes true, you're going deep into the playoffs.
Because you can punish a team
Yeah.
that's predicated on passing the
I
ball.
think at this point, it was going to take us down a whole road. I think the odds of Deshaun being top 5 this year are probably slim, but certainly top 10.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
That's a huge ask when you look at the other quarterbacks that are in the league.
But top 10, I mean, that would be the goal to me.
If we get him to top 10 this year, then maybe you can start thinking about him.
Who's a fringe 5? Well, you got 3. You got Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes. That's 3 right here. Right?
And Herbert.
So you want to throw Herbert in there? That's
and
4.
you got to put Tua. If he's healthy Tua. That's a big.
Well, I don't think he's top 5.
That's a big. No, but we're talking about fringe guys top 10.
Based on last year, Hurts. Now Hurts has got to do it again.
Hurts is in the top 5 for me.
So if you say can Watson catch Hurts, Tua, and Lawrence, sure he can.
Yeah, but that wouldn't get him really into the top 5.
That would put him slightly at 5.
Could he end up as the 5th best quarterback? Yeah, I think so.
And if you got that in the best running back,
anything's possible. But they don't need him to be the 5th best quarterback.
No, I want him top 10.
If he's the 8th best quarterback, that's great.
They're going to the playoffs.
That's great. It doesn't really matter if he's 5, 6, 7, or 8.
Deshaun, forget what they talk about. I need 40. I told you 4,800. Stop listening to them. No, I told you need 4,800.
You told them.
And 40. What I have? 45 touchdowns. What I have? 40?
Well, then he's going to be top 5 with 45 touchdowns.
45 touchdowns.
That's insane, but
God.
45.
I believe in you, G.
45 touchdowns.
45. Yeah, 45.
So
45.
300 yards and 3 touchdowns a game.
No, he need to have. I need to see 5 touchdowns, like a 5 touchdown.
300 yards a game would be 5,100 yards.
Yes, and it's for 17 games. It'd be 51 touchdowns.
So 285.
3 a game.
Yeah.
So I want 285 and 2.7 touchdowns a game.
I mean, that's a lot. Patrick Mahomes, he didn't even do that last year. He did the yards, but not.
Yeah, he had 50,
he's done
he
that
had
before.
5,200 yards and 41 touchdowns last year.
For Mahomes.
Mahomes, correct.
Yeah, 41.
Yeah,
It's 7 shy of where you want Watson this year.
45.
Drink that for a while. Let's put the Kool-Aid down. Let's just,
Shad, is it Kool-Aid or is it water? You already know this is unopened.
By the way, who's the last?
It's funny that your water's unopened.
Who's the last team to go to forget win the Super Bowl? Go to the Super Bowl with a elite running back.
Yeah, we talked about this a number of times. We can't remember the last time a team won the Super Bowl with an elite running back.
I can't tell.
Once upon a time, that was the blueprint, though.
I can't tell. I don't know the last time your team won a Super Bowl with a great quarterback and a great running back.
A.G. Bush, real quick.
Because they're competing. They're taking the stats away from
Rams.
one another.
It's the Rams. Greatest show on turf. It's the Rams. Kurt Warner And Marshall Faulk. That's the
Marshall
last
Faulk
time.
was a great
Brady
running back.
never had an elite back.
That was
No.
Great.
G, in the last decade, last 10 seasons, how many times has a quarterback thrown for 45 or more touchdowns?
3.
I'd say 2.
G?
6.
Both spot on. 3 times.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very
was-
often.
Until this year, when Deshaun Watson does it again.
Mahomes did it once, right?
Why, you got him for 48 this year?
No, I'm just backing up what
Mahomes,
G says.
Breeze.
And
Brady did, not in the last 10 years. Brady did it when he had Randy Moss, but that wasn't 10 years ago.
Mahomes,
Peyton
Bree-
Manning 10 years ago.
Peyton Manning. So that was 10.
55
years ago.
touchdowns. He threw for 5,500 yards, 55 touchdowns his first year at Denver.
That's crazy.
Absurd.
Wish.
Hey, guys, we did 2 hours of full football. We got all our topics in. Kudos to you guys. And we did it with tech issues. Got it over.
Yeah,
We got
true.
overtime. Viewer questions from Friday. Next.